The God of War series promises many things: great war, dramatic storytelling, and the most epic boss battles the side of Sparta can offer. Normally, being a tiny man in a world of great beings, powerful and strong, would never lead to a victory against the gods. And yet, when that tiny man is Kratos, the freshly crowned God of War, the promises of victory are not only assured, but any challenge brought your way is bloody and merciless. Be they against God, demigod, or great ruthless titan, there is no choice but a battle great as you are, festooned with honor, glowing energy, orbs, and occasionally a power-up, maybe fists with lion faces. Yeah, that's one of them. My name is Brittany, and today on the leaderboard we are celebrating your God of War victories by counting down the 9 most epic bosses in the heartless, soon-to-be quadrilogy of God of War. Let's do this. Oh baby, we are counting down, and our number 9 is the almighty Hydra. While the Hydra is far from the hardest boss in the game, he is the first one you see in the entire franchise. His massive jaw comes at you from inside a hallway, dwarfing Kratos and letting you know this is not your average game. The sight of Hydra announces the scope of the game as epic and the game's stake just as brutal while you soar through taking down the great beasts. A few points off for not having the heads regrow, any game that recasts Disney's Hercules voice actors in these roles know that all of us Hydra fans want one thing: some regrowing head action. This glorious battle ends with Kratos inside the Hydra's stomach, where he finds the captain of the ship begging for help, and he simply kicks him down and steals his keys. This announces to the world that this is a brutal game with a brutal protagonist who is not afraid to kick people and walk inside other people's mouths. Number 8, the Kraken. The tale and the story of God of War is just as epic as its boss battles. Kratos deals with betrayal from the gods, undesired familial relationships with the gods who manipulate him, and the pure and painful trauma of watching his family destroyed from the unholy deal he made with Ares, the first God of War. The latter falls into play right before the Kraken. Kratos fights a soldier in the shadows only to discover he's the last living Spartan from the city left vulnerable upon your appearance that has since been felled by Zeus, the man who killed him. All that goes down, and then, oh my god, it is the Kraken. The Kraken acts like a weird Harryhausen-inspired explanation point. He barely has anything to do with the situation, yet Kratos shouts to him, "I grow tired of the lies of the gods," as he climbs and slashes at his incredible tentacles. The Kraken on his own is an amazing beast. His tentacles flowing everywhere create an incredible and unique flowing energy to the battle that matches the legendary active fighting style of Kratos himself. You ultimately fell the beast by driving a bridge through his skull, and for his overall gruesome nature being in the middle of an epic tale and having some sweet tentacles you can climb like a wall, the Kraken makes it into number 8 on the most epic God of War boss battles of all time. Number 7, Aegaeon. Just for sheer spectacle, if not general insanity, there are so many unique sights to behold in God of War Ascension. God of War's oft ignored yet much adored spin-off. Yet, Aegaeon is such an incredible sight. You fly through a collapsing empty Escher puzzle as a gigantic slobbering insect attempts to devour you. It's a dream in a Cronenberg horror house that only improves when the beast's intricate true design comes up. And then the hands! Look at all those hands, and just when you finish with those hands, that haunting human face launches with those incredible insect-like jaws. And the God of War games have amazing threats that are grotesque and grand in scale. The battle with Aegaeon puts all of these elements into a beautiful blender and gives you a battle with a flowing camera and flowing madness, a creature born right out of the subconscious of a nightmare, making it the kind of spectacles only video games can achieve. Every battle in God of War is brutal insanity, and just for sheer oddball madness, Aegaeon comes in at number 7. Number 6, Hercules. Hercules had many iterations, from the gorgeous occasional sidekick to Xena the warrior princess, to Arnold Schwarzenegger getting lost in New York, to the animated Disney hunt from which Gods of War actually borrowed 2 of its actors. And here we get our 3rd iteration in pure, beautiful, and almost kind of comical God of War fashion. The Hercules here is not the hunky Brad Pitt look-alike of Disney fame. This Hercules is a massive mountain of massive man, his every footstep causing tremors as he complains about the wimpiness of his own labors of Hercules. Hercules comes at you with 2 things that make him stand out outside of his amazing design, between the immovable stone and the unstoppable object: a skeleton army calling to mind Ray Harryhausen's most famed special effect in the game, which clearly had a big influence on all of us, and the lion gloves. Kratos receives the lion gloves in the battle by getting Hercules when he, thinking he has killed Kratos, gloats to his audience. In short, this beautiful, sweaty, bloody battle between the 2 brothers at arms fighting it out for their prime comes in at number 6. Anyway, here's Kratos punching his face into hamburger. Number 5, Ares. A final boss always does have a reputation to keep up, and the final boss in the first God of War does not disappoint. Your battle with Ares has been teased through the entire game, from the moment you see him as a giant early, and the battle with him is appropriately gorgeous. Though he seems like another brutal foe, the drama inherent in the fight, made physical as you are literally forced to protect the memory of the family that Ares has killed, gives it a drama and epicness few could match. As Ares shouts your names, he lets the stones try to crush you until you finally kill him, letting him explode in a nuclear-like blast, worthy of the villain that launched an incredible series of brutal games. Ares comes in at number 5 on the list of most epic boss battles in the God of War franchise. Number 4, Poseidon. God of War's opening battles are beautiful masterpieces blowing your mind as they force you into a complex universe of the game where blood spills and giant men are punched by tiny men. They're often as cinematic as they are exciting, and the battle with Poseidon takes the prize for its weird effects. The battle is another grand fight with an immaculately designed creature. Where else would you battle a grand steed made of water? And we dare not ignore Gaia's entrance into the battle. Yet, the reason this battle is pushed even higher is for one vaguely masochistic reason. Has there ever been a second person kill in any action game? That's right, when the time comes for the finishing blow for the first time in the God of War series, you get to see the terrifying violent mess that each and every one of Kratos' victims see. His boot, his fist, and finally his thumbs just crushing your eyeballs into jelly. Ugh. For being an absolutely ridiculous effect, a beautiful masterpiece of a design, and battle leading up to that, Poseidon scores a dazzling number 4 on our list. Number 3, Hades. In a sense, it speaks to the game's sense of restraint, that a game where pulling someone's head off with your bare hands seems like a shrug. You know. It took 3 games to get to Kratos battling Hades, Lord of the Underworld. It's a battle that is beautifully, unapologetically metal as all bleep. Hades' design as a hulking satanic mountain of a man to his moveset, which involves springing spiked chains on you until you cut out his heart, and chase his heart around the room until you finally stab his heart to death. And guess what? Stabbing a man's bouncing, hopping, humanoid heart is the midpoint. Hades returns with his skin charred off, himself a mess, only for you to suck his soul back into his body, for being the most brutal thing we've ever seen outside of this. Hades comes in at number 3, most epic battle in God of War. Number 2, Cronos. Shakespearean, tragic, yet grand and grotesque, the fight with Cronos is the promise that the series gave you when you first encountered a Hydra cranked up to the infinity symbol you'd never know existed at the end of the dial for glorious epic battle. Whoa. Cronos was introduced in God of War 2 as the last of the Titans as he exacts revenge on you in the game by intending to do all sorts of gruesome things to you. The battle is madness. You climb on his arms, lop off his fingernails, slash at his limbs until he finally swallows you, and you exact revenge upon his very guts by lopping them out. Look at that disgusting small intestine action. The fight is the masterpiece of madness and deserves this beautiful number 2. Number 1, Zeus and Gaia. As the God of War series continued to evolve, so did its villains. Ares seems downright primitive when compared to Hades or Cronos, and after climbing on the skin of a giant like a gnat and slaughtering the Lord of Underworld's raw charred skin, God of War 3 does not disappoint with the inclusion of its final boss, the Lord of Gods himself, Zeus, and father of Kratos himself. Betrayer of Kratos in God of War 2, and the greatest, most unbeatable foe the programmers could imagine for himself. The battle starts off small with a relatively simple fist fight, a brutal outtake from a cruel fighting game. It leaps into a more free-flowing action with more open spaces, but then the entire battle becomes mad as Gaia enters, seeking her revenge, swallowing you both up, and as the battle continues within, you destroy Zeus and Gaia as you lance Zeus upon Gaia's heart, after wrestling his maddened form into it as Gaia collapses and becomes dust. And guess what, people? The battle isn't even over yet. You think it's easy to kill a god? No way, man. You still have to kill a god's ghost. This battle is so epic that death itself cannot crush it. Zeus forces Kratos to remember his family, and only upon making his peace with their deaths does he gain the power to destroy Zeus once and for all. So touching. Punching him until the entire screen is covered in blood, of course. Epic, deathless, familial, huge, psychological, and you stab a big heart. The battle with Zeus from God of War 3 comes in at number 1. This game is so badass. Those are our picks, but in your opinion, are there any epic boss battles we were fools for leaving out? Let us know in the comments. Until next time, I'm Brittany, and you've been watching the Leaderboard, where we help you game smarter.